Inuarata no Sahai is still my amiable name, and I'm so delighted to come your way on this segment of the program. Now, under my series on psychological safety, this morning we are going to be focusing on 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety and practical steps to restore it. 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety and practical steps to restore it. Now, psychological safety is about creating a work environment where your team members or employees are not scared, they are not afraid, of bringing their errors to the table. They are not fear of contributing their ideas. They are not afraid of contributing their ideas. They are not afraid of bringing their errors to the table, because there are some work environments whereby employees are often shamed when they made mistakes. They are often embarrassed, when they made mistakes. They are also, they receive a psychological and emotional hit when they make mistakes or when they bring ideas to the table. That means that environment is psychologically unsafe. But psychological safety is about ensuring that employees are not afraid, to bring their ideas to the table for fear of being embarrassed. They are not afraid to admit mistakes for fear of being, shamed. They are not afraid, to also contribute their innovative and creative idea for the advancement of the system. Now, what psychological safety does for you is that it helps you as a leader to fully maximize the potential of your team members. Very important. And it is very, very important that as a leader, as a boss, you are sensitive to the fact that, to the signs of declining psychological safety in your workplace, in your team. And that is why this morning the topic is 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. If your team loses psychological safety, it means that you will not be able to tap into the expertise and know-how. You will not be able to tap into the potential of your people. 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. The first warning sign is fear of leaders. Fear of leaders. Now, this is not respect for leaders. This is not reverence for leaders. But it's a palpable tension that you see in the workplace or in the team whenever the boss steps in. All of a sudden, there is this abrupt silence whereby, you can literally just touch the sudden deafening silence in that kind of work environment. Because the leaders, the workers there, the team members there are afraid that, should they keep talking or should they make mistakes, the team leader is going to react in a way that will, negatively impact on their emotion, negatively impact on their psychology. So everybody always just keep quiet for that fear, whenever the leader is around. So you see a situation even during meetings when the leader is talking, when the leader even make mistakes, those team members, even when they see that this comment, this perspective or this idea of the leader is seriously flawed, nobody points out the error, nobody points out the mistake because they are afraid that, they may be shamed or embarrassed. So at the end of the day, we see a situation whereby, the system is not actually achieving its best. Now, when you see that your people are unnecessarily afraid of you, it could be traceable to a declining psychological safety. Very important. And you need to do something to see that the psychological safety is restored. Number 2, you also see a situation whereby another sign you notice in a team that is losing psychological safety is that mistakes are hidden instead of discussed. Mistakes are hidden instead of discussed. Now, there are many workplaces where employees who made sincere mistakes and they were open about this mistake, they were seriously shamed, they were embarrassed. Even some of them even had to lose some part of their salary. They receive unnecessary query. And because of this kind of culture in that work environment, they become afraid to open up when they make mistakes. So the next goal you just see that all these employees want to achieve whenever they make mistake is to hide it, is to cover it. And covering the mistakes is not in the best interest of you, the leader. It's not in the best interest of the organization, because such mistake may grow to a level whereby, the cost of it may be so overbearing, maybe too much for, the company or the organization. That is also a sign that your team or your organization is losing psychological safety. Very, very important. A situation whereby mistakes are hidden instead of being discussed. The third one is creativity and initiative decline. Creativity and initiative decline. Now, the absence of creative ideas and innovation in your team is not necessarily because your people lack these creative ideas. It's not necessarily because your people lack innovation. It could just be that there is no psychological safety for them to express these creative ideas and innovation. It is very important, you are conscious of this. You notice that the people are not coming up with ideas. You notice that they are not coming up with innovations. They are just there doing the regular routine. Like I said, it does not necessarily equate to they are not having these ideas or not having this innovation. It may just be that there is no safety, there is no emotional safety, there's no psychological safety for them to express this innovation and ideas. There are situations whereby some team members or some employees of organizations have come up with ideas that could improve on productivity, come up with ideas that could even reduce cost. And when they bring these things to the table, it is greeted with, discouraging response like, this is the way we have always done it. This is the way we work here. And at the end of the day, these employees just go back to their shells. And then they just continue to do what is spelled out on their job description. And, everybody just keep quiet. So when you also notice that creativity and initiative decline in your organization, in your team, it could also be as a result of declining psychological safety. And it is important you are smart to see that it is restored. Then the last one, which is the fourth one, remember, we are looking at 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. And the first one, I said fear of leaders. Second one, mistakes are hidden instead of being discussed. The third one, I said creativity and initiative decline. The fourth one, which is the concluding one, is high turnover or quiet quitting increase. High turnover or quiet, quitting increase. You see a situation whereby, as a result of lack of psychological safety, as a result of absence of psychological safety, some employees, despite the fact that you are paying juicy salary, they decide to just tender in their resignation letter. And when you look into their resignation letter, the reason they often give is personal reasons. Personal reasons. And that may just be a coded way of saying that your environment is not psychologically safe. I want to go to a place where I can better express myself and bring my A game to the table. Then you also see a situation whereby, because of economic reasons, there are some employees that may not leave. They remain there, but they are emotionally disengaged from the work. They are not passionate about the work. They are not bringing their best. They just do the regular routine. They don't go the extra mile. They don't go far and beyond. They just do what is expected of them. No creativity, no innovation. They are there and just tolerating the lack of psychological safety in that environment because of the salary. They have not gotten a better offer. But if competitors just dangled a little better offer compared to what they are earning from you, in front of their eyes, in front of them, the next thing is that they are tendering their resignation letter. And that kind of situation is quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. They are just there, tolerating what is happening, just coping, and at the end of the day, should they just see a better offer from anywhere, they leave you. And when you look at this, it is also traceable to a declining psychological safety. That is why it is very important as an employer, as a boss, as a CEO, you are smart. You are smart to see that when all these things are happening, they are likely traceable to lack of psychological safety, and you be smart enough to see that you do something about them, to see that psychological safety is restored. Now, next week, we are going to be looking at how to see that you restore declining psychological safety. That is going to be my area of focus next week, Wednesday. Today, I looked at 4 winning signs your team is losing psychological safety. But next week, we are going to see how you can restore this declining psychological safety back to your team. And, just stay with me, and you just continue to get value, premium value for that matter. At the end of the day, you build a better workplace for yourself, a better company and a better business, better organization, NGO for yourself, and then, moving from point A to B and, just attaining your next level of growth. I believe that premium value have been added to you today. My email is always on the screen for you to connect with me, forward your questions, forward your inquiries, and then I provide answers straight to you. Yes, that's the email right there on the screen, inuarata@gmail.com. Just forward your questions, forward your inquiries, and then we are able to, build a better workplace, a better team with psychological safety for ourselves, and then build a better country and a better world for ourselves as well. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will still be the amiable Inuarata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.